Alright, next up on the bench, it's going to be another Star Wars related project, in this case going back to episode 7, Force Awakens, and the excellent Bandai Resistance X-wing kit. In this case, I'm actually going to be building 2 of them, as well as the Poe Dameron version, as the survivors of the Battle of Starkiller Base. I'm going to build Poe's box stock with BB-8 as the astromech. This one will be built as Blue 3, which means in this case actually it gets to be built out of the box. And this one, using some markings I found, actually copied from ones, or upsized from some 1/144th ones I've got. This one will be built as Red 4, the other known surviving X-wing from that engagement. Build should go fairly quickly, because I've definitely got experience dealing with the Force Awakens X-wing after the Generations build. Not going to bother you with, or bore you rather, with shots of the sprues, because the Generations video actually has a full breakdown on the T70. So I'm going to turn the camera off and probably get started. Alright, not a lot of build progress to show yet. What I have been doing is some detail painting. Left the pilot figure on the sprue, painted in the flight suit with some Vallejo Scarlet, and the boots and gloves with Vallejo Dark Primer. The cockpit pieces have all been painted with a medium gray mix. Also gone in and picked out the engine sections in that same medium gray mix. Done the same thing over here for the Red 4, as well as painting the fuselage stripe pieces in a color similar enough to the body to not stand out too much before I go for the stripes. And over here, again, we've got the gray detail panels and cockpit and pilot work for Poe Dameron. Alright, at this point, as you can see, I've got 3 pairs of wings done. Assembly goes very quickly on them. The only difference, actually even in the sprues, is that these detail pieces on the Poe Dameron X-wing are actually on the silver sprue instead of the black sprue, whereas they would be on the white sprue on the regular X-wing. Assembly moves really quick on these, and is one thing I will always give credit to Bandai for, some very well engineered kits. Alright, and moving right along, we now have finished assembly on all 3 cockpits. Poe's really easy to tell because he has the black helmet. I'm not too worried about decaling the helmets or the instrument panels, because once they're in the cockpit, you're not, or once they're in the fuselage rather, you're not going to be able to see a lot, but those cockpits are very well detailed. Alright, at this point, basic construction is finished on Blue 3, Red 4, and Black Leader. I still have to put in the landing gear doors and gun tips, but other than that, the only thing left major to do on all 3 of these birds is decals and weathering. So we are making some serious progress. Alright, as you can see, some marking work has been done on all three birds now. I've still got some of the incidental markings to put on, like the color swatches on the engines. I've still got to do the droids and the weathering. And this is probably the last time you're going to see these guys before they're actually finished. Now, one problem I did have was in getting these decals on the engine cans to sit down and fold over properly. Fortunately, with enough microsol and microset, we got her done. The wing markings went down beautifully. As you can see, we've got red 4, blue 3, and of course black leader. As I said, this is probably the last time you'll see these guys before the final reveal. Alright, at this point, all the decals are on, at least all the decals that I'm actually going to put on. A little bit of weathering's been done, and the guns are on. We're going to call these ships done. What we got here, of course, is a triad of Incom T70 X-wing fighters from Star Wars The Force Awakens. We have blue 3, black leader, and red 4. The weathering was done with a combination of black wash and dry brushing of Vallejo smoke on all the birds. The smoke, of course, doesn't show up that well on black leader, but that's to be expected. The bird is mostly black. Of course, one thing you do have in here is BB-8. Blue 3, built primarily out of the box. Again, the smoke weathering with the black wash, showing the exhaust from the proton tubes. This one is also carrying a BB style astromech. Although this one I did in with a blue wash and picked out the details in black just to set it apart from BB-8. Red 4 is using a black R5 style astromech. Actually, this is the same astromech that came as an alternate for Poe's ship. But all in all, these birds turned out really nice. Combination of kit and custom decals, most of the custom decals being on red 4 here. Now the eventual plan is to take these three birds and replace the two larger Revell T70s that are up there. I'm also going to be replacing the two T65s that are up there with 1/72 scale ships as well. They're likely going to be my next build. Now, current plan, of course, is I'm going to put some stills at the end of this, and we're going to call it a day. We're going to call this build done.